Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. Once again, we have our superstar producer / engineer, Mr. Howie Darkstar. How you doing, Howie?
Good. Hey, you notice I'm not wearing the shade.
Yeah, you can see again.
You look good.
Yeah, man.
You've talked with the ophthalmologist, and
Well, I was supposed to wear the shades for 3 weeks. It's been 12 days. I'm ahead of the curve. I love
Look
it.
at you. Look at you. Sadly, tomorrow Howie will have a white cane, but for tonight he sees.
Now that we have the old man stuff out of the way, I'd like to introduce our superstar swinger from Temecula, California. Mr. Jay Brannan is in the house.
How are you, everybody?
Good Pastor Jay.
Jay.
I try.
I had a pretty interesting week over here.
Yeah, what's going on over there, Brian?
Well, I've noticed something. My video views are way up.
Oh, that's good.
I'm thinking it's because people are interested in DJing again. They're out, they're working. Quarantine is starting to end, or limitations are starting to end. Not everywhere, and I understand that. There are places where people are still on lockdown. There are places where there's still a lot of limitations, but it's starting to open up in a lot of places. And my views have gone crazy in this last week or so.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. That is a definite good thing. With things opening up, as you say, people are starting to watch and say, what do I need to know? And, you know.
Right.
Well, you do come up very high in a search, for sure.
That would be the marijuana. That would be Brian's use of, no?
It was
seriously, any topic.
I'm so sorry.
You go to YouTube and you go, if it's DJ related topic, Brian is almost always the first one up.
On a lot of things sometimes, but I think it's different. I think people are actually looking for information. They're kind of getting back into the swing of things. They're starting to try to brush up a little bit. Not that I have crazy stuff to offer them that I've put up in the last year, but it's nice to see that the views are up. It's
you get a lot of info, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. I think it's the sense of, I haven't done this in a while, maybe.
Yeah.
So now they're looking to you for, let me get a kickstart. Absolutely.
It's practical. There's no gimmicks. It's like, here's the information. Do what you want with it.
Brian is just about the info, not about the tricks, not about the treats. It's all about the info.
Something else that happened, and it actually happened yesterday, and I have Pastor Jay to thank for it, because he made the introduction here for.
Oh, yes.
We have a mutual friend who is the marketing director of a company that I will not talk about yet, but
actually vice president of marketing.
Okay, vice president of marketing, because there's a president who's the president of everything. That's how these companies work.
A lot of them, yes.
And we will be getting some new product. We'll have a new sponsor on my channel coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that. I'll have some new product to show you.
Very excited.
Great news.
Yeah. No, we had a little chit chat, and it was, hey, what do you think? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm happy to help, but you need to make one phone call first. I'm not dumb enough to pretend that I can take over the show in any respect. So I was like, why don't you make this phone call, and then I'll do the local stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, Brian. I really am.
Well, what's nice about this, and the reason I bring it up isn't for me to tell you about any of my windfalls, because this is not a windfall, but anything like that. It's nothing like that. The reason I bring it up is because I haven't said anything, but for the last year, there has been no marketing money anywhere. No one has wanted to sponsor the channel. Nobody has wanted to do much of anything. I mean, I've done some things for people where it's like, okay, if you need some help, I'll help you. I'll talk about your product, but it's not a sponsorship. It's just me giving somebody a proper.
Right.
Where now we're actually looking at some real sponsorship potential. And this is the first time in a year. And that tells me that people are starting to buy again, and companies are interested in selling again.
Oh, yeah.
That was something that wasn't happening for a while. Most of these companies, they were not making new product. They were not developing new product. They were looking at their bread and butter stuff. They were trying to hang on to their staff as much as possible. They cut way back or eliminated their marketing department It's starting to happen. So this is good news for our industry.
Big time. Well, we're getting back to work and we need things. I mean, Howie and I have had a bunch of back and forths about my new lighting rig, and Howie's been an amazing, mentor, tutor, teacher, call it what you will, for helping me out moving forward with this bad boy, which I purchased along with some other things this year. I've spent more money this year than I've spent in probably the last 5 years getting new gear. I've got new speakers, new mics. I have brand new Audio-Tech 4th Gen 3000. Of course, I'm running the amazing Evolve 50s, which just forget it.
Right.
I think a lot of people are looking back on 2 years ago, my last gig, what did I use? And now what can I do going forward?
Right.
So I think you're going to see more eyes on the brand for you, Brian, as far as people looking at what's new, what do I need to know, what have I forgotten about, There's
a lot of neat stuff to talk about. And Jay, you're a perfect example, because what you've done, and I've seen you do, I've watched it real time, you're moving forward with your ideas as far as what is a light show, what is a sound system. And your light show is an uplighting thing now. This is what you're going for. This is a new thing for you.
And credit to you on that, by the way. I've got to give you props on that. Like literally 5-6 years ago, we talked.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I think it's all about making a splash in the room and doing this and that. And it's what we talked about then is what I'm now working with Howie to do now. So, it's pretty amazing how it's not a kiss up to you on you were there then as much as the conversations. And I think that might be part of why your videos are exploding. People are now waking up to, here's an idea I'm not doing. Let me get onto it and move forward with it.
It's a matter of ideas. And when I do any video that I do, I don't know how clear I make it, but it's not gospel, folks. This is just an opinion and an observation. And something I'm trying, and you might be doing something better, or who's to say if it's better or worse? I don't know. But what I was alluding to was I'm using the Ape stuff. It works very well.
Great lights.
I do know that a lot of people, especially now, just getting back into this, may not have the scratch for that. And I understand it. So I'm very excited to very soon be able to present a more affordable option to anyone out there who would like to go with the easier control, easier to set up, battery powered, uplight your dance area situation. It's coming. So that's fun. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm really looking forward to do. So,
I think that's a natural progression, because from my point as a consumer, years ago when I discovered your channel, I understand that a manufacturer is going to put their product in the very best light in a very dark room. Let's say it's lighting, and they're going to make it look spectacular, and they're going to use 8 of them, and they go, this is what it is. Your videos are like, this is what it looks like in my living room in the daylight. And I'm like, oh, well, that meant more to me to see how it looks like in real life. And that's what I based my purchase on, was your video, not the company's video.
It's interesting you say that, because when I got this call from this gentleman that I'm talking about here, I'm going to be working with very soon, he said, so how do these reviews work? And I'm like, hold on a second. We've known each other for a long time. I've done videos for the company that you were the boss of, as far as I was concerned. And you probably never realized it, but I never reviewed your products. Not once.
No.
Did I ever review any of your products? No. And I showcased many of them, but I never reviewed them. I only demonstrated them.
That was my point. When we had the discussion, I said, you need to put things in perspective. And perspective is, if I buy this, what can I do with this?
Right.
I mean, you could do a video, as you've done in the past, and as I've told you, I have certainly utilized of taking a light and putting it up against a wall, and suddenly it's like an entirely new feature. That's the kind of perspective that I think manufacturers rarely understand or see, but those of us in the trenches, as an expression goes, that's our life. It's like, what can I do that's different? What can I do to make this look amazing? And that's what we're now coming up against, because as you say, Brian, you have manufacturers that want to sell, but you also have people that want to buy. They haven't bought new gear in a couple of years. What's new? I mean, you and I could probably spend 20 minutes talking about the new whatever in the market. Hardware, lighting, software. I mean, there's literally nothing new since pandemic in software. Nothing. There is no new program.
VDJ 2021 popped up during the pandemic.
Well, but I mean, it's a program that already existed.
Yeah,
I'm saying like there's no like, here's the groundbreaking this. There's stems with DJ, which is amazing, and
it's the new and improved.
DJ's got stuff but it was just a progressive thing. It wasn't here's something that's totally out of left field. So
no outer space stuff.
No,
but I think it's coming, and there are also things that I believe were on their way when this hit that got put to the wayside, and now we can give them some attention. And I'm looking forward to looking closer at those products as well. And it turns out that I might have the opportunity to do that pretty soon. So that's all good news, and it's good for the industry. It's good for me, of course, my channel and such, but more than anything else, it just kind of says something about the state of DJs right now, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
There was something else.
Do you think perhaps that people have been off for so long that they're watching your videos as a refresher on how this works, and they already own it?
Maybe, or perhaps it might even be, and it's my newer videos that are getting attention. It might even be that, hey, look, I'm rusty. I haven't gigged for a while. What's going on out there? So they're checking me out to see what I have to say. Now, what I have to say may or may not be relevant, but it's something. And that's why I think they're watching. I don't know how others are doing, because I really don't talk to too many people with other YouTube channels, but I know my views are up.
Yeah.
So I don't know how everyone else, I don't know how Bar's doing or how Rachel's doing or anyone like that. I haven't even asked. I don't even know how John's doing, but I know that I'm doing well. And to me, that was like, I guess, sign number one. Sign number two was marketing wants to play ball again. Hey, this is fantastic. So I'm happy about that.
That's awesome.
There's something else
working. We're going forward. I mean, it's the reality of it. It's also the reality that I'm noticing on clubs and other things picking up, where no one's been out. Now they're all like running. It's like, oh, I gotta go. So I think that we as mobile are going to be in the same realm as everything else, where it's like, man, like I have progressively over this year noticed weddings have gone up 10, 20 people a wedding. I have 2 weddings this week where it's like 120 and 130.
Yeah.
My weddings 2 or 3 weeks ago were like 80 to 90, and 100 to 110 or something. So, it's all picking up.
It's funny you say that. I've noticed a trend on fewer and fewer people at events, especially weddings, for the past several years.
Yeah.
I have one coming up this weekend that's 100 people flat. It's in a relatively small venue. The reason I bring this gig up is because something very interesting happened to me on Friday. I got a message from our friend Wavy Davy.
Oh, yeah.
And he says,
Great
hey,
voice.
Somebody's calling me for a last minute wedding next weekend, next Saturday. Their DJ's bailed on them. Can you do it? I said, no, I have an event. And as soon as I said that, I said, you know what? I need to touch base with my client. We haven't spoken in a minute. We talked a few months ago, but it's been a minute. Let me just touch base with these people. Something just told me I needed to do it. I do it, and sure enough, they have canceled the event and forgot to contact me.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's apologizing profusely for this. In the meantime, I just want him to shut up so I can chase the next lead.
Do he pay you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's his loss. So, but it's, it's, what do you call it? Retainer, right?
But no, I'm saying a week out though. Like,
yeah,
different
he's lost his
topic
retainer.
altogether.
But at this point, I just need this guy to shut up so I can move on. Now,
Sure.
a little background here on this event. I got this event last year in May. What had happened is they had a date secured for June, and then they were told that they could not have an event because of, the lockdown. So they wanted to reschedule for the following year. The DJ they had already booked the date for the following year, so kicked it to me. So this was a reschedule. I can't help but to wonder what happens within a year for people. That's the first thing I wanted to mention about this story I'm telling. Is it that they eloped? Is it that they just decided they hated each other and didn't want to get married anymore? Who knows? But I am not...
$1 million question.
I'm not as secure about my events that I booked a year to 6 months out in advance as I am the last minute bookings I'm getting because they need somebody. Why do they need somebody? When you think about it, maybe a lot of DJs have gone ahead and thrown in the towel this last year. They're no longer doing this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people quit. A lot of people gave up. Yeah, we know that firsthand experience, chill room and other areas. Sadly, they just said, I can't do it.
With that in mind, though, I think really focusing on these last minute pickup gigs could be a really good thing for us who need to fill some dates. We need to look into this. We need to get involved in groups in our area. There's a group I'm involved with. I shouldn't say involved with. There's a group I'm a member of. I've never done anything with them. It's called the Wisconsin DJ Bat Phone. And basically what it is an emergency. You can go there. You can find a DJ. You can find equipment or whatever. If you need something, you can network and make it happen.
Right.
Things like that might be a good thing to get involved with in your area because I think this pickup gig thing's a reality.
I think reaching out on Facebook and saying, hey, here's my schedule. I'm available.
Right.
Because you're going to start to see this overwhelming. And what shocks me is in the last 2 weeks, I've booked, I think, 5 weddings. 2 of them are in September. They're Sundays that I wasn't booked.
Right.
So I've got 2 Septembers and then 3 for 2022 in like June and July. But you're going to see people come out and say, hey, we can get outside. Let's do it.
Right. It's interesting. There's a lot of telltale signs that are popping up right now that I'm slowly catching on to. Some of the stuff I'm a little slow with, but some of it's like, oh, wait a minute. I see what's going on here. So the last minute stuff is good stuff.
Yep.
What's so nice about it is you don't have to spend a week with, let me talk to my fiance, let me talk to this person, let me talk to that person.
Nope.
You have probably come through a recommendation. And when you do, they're speaking highly of you already. It's already sold.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's a done deal.
Yeah.
So
some interesting facts about my wedding coming up. He's white. She's Puerto Rican. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Sound familiar?
Hold on. Let me think this out. So wait. He's white. She's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Do we know anybody like that, Jay?
Nobody.
No.
You know what? I got a guy in Bakersfield that I could recommend.
I get these people. I totally get them.
That's
oh shit! Cool. Wait. That's Brian.
Yeah. Go figure.
Oh damn! Oh, we do the whole Boricua thing. That's right. I totally messed that up.
What's interesting is they don't want a lot of that, but they want some of that. But I understand it, so that's good. And the other thing that has been really refreshing here, and I don't know if this is something that's going to be a trend with last minute bookings like this, but I have a feeling it might be. I talked to my future client, the bride for Saturday, on Friday, and I said, hey, I know you're going to your bachelor party in Chicago all weekend, which I guess that's the thing. You go on a bachelor party for the weekend in Chicago. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, right.
So let's not.
I saw that movie, by the way, with Tony
Yeah.
Catania. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw it about 100 years ago, but everything went wrong. There was a donkey, so I'm just saying.
So let's
The guy with the
not
hot dogs. Yeah.
let's not discuss the details right now.
No.
Let's talk on Monday. And she said, cool. So I send her a text late in the afternoon on Monday. And I say, hey, whenever you're available, why don't we go ahead and put a timeline together for you? Get your songs, all that stuff. She says, cool. So I'll call you in 5 minutes. So she calls me. 15 minutes later, I hang up the phone. In 15 minutes, I knew what the start time was, what the end time was, what time dinner started, what the first song of the night was, what the grand entrance song was, what her wedding party's names were, whether or not they wanted a father-daughter and a mother-son, and what those songs were, garter, bouquet, location, everything in 15 minutes, written down and done.
Good for you.
That doesn't happen.
No.
That doesn't happen.
No.
No.
And a lot of people don't understand this.
No.
A lot of people feel like that. No, I do custom stuff from scratch. I don't use any kind of event planner or online forums because every event's custom.
Right.
But I'm getting the information from her. She's telling me kind of what she wants, and I'm making suggestions. She's taking every single one of them. Let me give you a grand entrance. Sit down and eat. Let's wait till everyone's done eating before any toasts or speeches. Cool, let's do that. Okay, how about your cake? Yeah, we have a cake. Okay, do you need to have it cut for catering? No, we just have a small cake and cupcakes. Perfect. How about after the toast and speeches, you cut the cake, we make a thing of it, and then we go ahead and announce that cupcakes are available. Help yourself. Perfect. And then let's do a first dance whenever you're ready. Perfect. What's the song? She tells me the song. You want a father-daughter? Yeah. What song? Boom. Want a mother-son? Yeah. Boom. There's the song. How about garter and bouquet? Yeah, I think we'd like to do that. Cool. I'm going to do it 45 minutes after the open dancing starts. Perfect. How about after that, we just have party time? Oh, I love it. Let's do that. Dude. Oh, and by the way, who's your wedding party? Oh, it's Allison and Chad and Bob and Maria and whatever. In that order? Yeah, cool. All right. See you Saturday. It was amazing. Yeah. This never happens.
This is actually the complete opposite of some of the clients I've had. See, I had to be a DJ and a dentist because it was like pulling teeth to get information out of them.
Right. You've got emails, you've got texts, you've got phone calls, you've got Facebook messages. They keep changing their minds and they need you to chill them out. And they want to reinvent the wheel. I don't know if it's just my clients or it can't be. I don't know. They've been dreaming about this since they were 4 years old, playing with Barbie and Ken. They got an idea in their head. You're not going to change it without some force and without some very tactful counseling, which is what I usually end up doing. How about you, Jay? Are you doing this too?
You know, to be honest with you, it comes down to there's three clients. There's I can run this, meaning I can make suggestions, they'll go with it. Or they've already got a million ideas they want to throw at me. Or they're not really sure on anything. So it becomes one of those compromises. Like, well, how about cake cutting? Want to do Def Leppard? Oh, we love Def Leppard. Done. Okay.
Right.
Well, first dance, you got that? No, we got that. About 2.5 minutes? Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Then this, then this, then this, then this. You know, I think it all comes down to, I don't think brides and grooms understand how much control they have over their own wedding. They just don't. I mean, they run the show, meaning I say to couples all the time, after dinner, do you want to have things stop and start, or do you want to just get it done with? What do you mean? Well, we could do dinner, first dance, father, daughter, mother, son, half an hour, cake cutting, garter bouquet, anniversary, this, or dinner, first dance, father, daughter, mother, son, cake cutting, half an hour later, anniversary, half an hour later. oh no, I think we want to do this. I'm like, well, the benefit is this. I mean, we've been there how many times?
Right.
Thousands of
Well,
times.
that's the point. I mean, and that's the weird thing. I mean, as we're all adults here,
I'm barely
venture to
legally,
say
I just turned 21 2 weeks ago, so I'm
barely there too. But we are not children. That's a fact. We are grown-ups. We are officially grown-ups. Everyone in this room. And I've learned one thing as a grown-up, and that is always listen to people who know more about stuff than I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing that I see happen with a generation where they want to know everything, and they don't want to listen. And then there's that generation where it's like, you know what? I've been around long enough to know I don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I ought to listen to somebody who has done this before.
Mm-hmm.
And the clients this weekend, by the way, are in their late 30s. They're not kids.
Even better.
And
they're willing to listen.
Right. And something else very interesting that I'll throw in here that I actually forgotten about until we started talking here. Something she said before I hung up the phone was strange, I thought, because everything that I told you about this timeline, pretty basic, right?
Right.
I mean, nothing too crazy.
No.
She said, this is so cool. There were things that we wanted to do that our DJ said they couldn't do or weren't willing to do for us. What?
Wow.
I think it's pretty amazing when I would love to be in those meetings where DJs are like, this is how it's done, period, end subject.
Right.
Because every time I talked to a client last night, and I was like, here's how it goes, and this is where you get to say what you want. And it's pretty much everything. This, went over all the dances, the music, this and that. And they're like, wow, that's so amazing. We didn't think we had this much input. I'm like, yeah, but it's your wedding. Like, why would you not think you had that much input? And they're like, well, because our friends got married and their DJ was okay. I'm like, and they're like, so anyway, and I stole something I heard over the weekend, which I'm going to say until I quit this industry. And those of you out there that don't say this, here's the new expression you're going to use, unless you're from maybe the tri-state area, the Pennsylvania area or something. We'll talk to you later. But anywhere else and everywhere else, they said to me, like, well, what if we do this for like time? And I said, well, that really doesn't affect anything. Like, that doesn't affect the price? I said, I'll be honest with you. You pay for talent, not for time. Mm. And they literally went, okay, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And when I heard it from a comedian who said in a negotiation, hey, guys, you pay for talent, not for time. Like I'm 50 grand for 20 minutes. That's not the issue. The issue is I'm 50 grand.
Right.
Like, you're paying for talent, not for the time. Don't get twisted on, well, right. if I go to 4 hours, is it cheaper? Right. No, you're paying for talent, not for time.
I get exploring options. You know, that I understand.
Well, yeah, and I get that. But what are the options? You know, this is what it costs. This is what it is. This is what you want. That's what you have to understand, that you have to either sacrifice.
No, I agree with you.
Go down a different road. But
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It just seems like, you know, again, they don't know anything. So,
well, but we don't either sometimes, Brian. We are underpaid at best. We are underserved at best. We are not where we should be, in my opinion, in the realm of value. I think a DJ,
Howie, doesn't he? Always goes money.
Well, yeah, but hear me out. Hear me out.
Always goes money.
Hear me out. I think a DJ for a wedding at minimum should be $2,000, and I'll tell you why I think that. Because a wedding cake might be $1,000, florals might be $3,500. The florals that they leave behind at the end of the night. honeymoon might be like 3 or 4 or 5 grand. The venue might be 6, 7, 8 grand. How is it that we're still battling on, yeah, I'm 900. Oh, that's so much more. Well, let me tell you what. What do you think the DJ's value is that night, percentage wise? How much of the positive outcome do I have to affect? Oh, at least 80%. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take 80% of your budget. Well, my budget's $25,000. That works for me. I'll take 80%. But instead, I'll tell you what, I'll give you great value. I'll take 10. Well, shit, 10% versus 80? I'm getting away with murder. That's right. And I'm getting $2,800. And if I'm wrong, just tell me. But I don't think I am. So I'm just saying.
Okay. It's okay.
I know it's about money, but you know what? I need to make a living. I need to survive.
Okay, we've come to the part of the show where you and Brian switch roles.
I want to do one. I want to do one more thing before we switch. I like it though. There's one more thing real quick I want to do before we switch.
Okay.
Something really cool happened this week, and I didn't think I was allowed to talk about it, but the person who organized this talking about it, so I guess I can talk about it. Nick Hahn. We all know Nick Hahn.
I love Nick Hahn.
Yes.
Love Nick
him.
Hahn. Nick Hahn is one of the greatest human beings, not only on the planet Earth, and I will interrupt you on this one, and you'll see why. Nick Hahn, who hired me, when I met Nick Hahn, he was a sub guy at Pioneer. He worked for Carl Detkin, who gave me some gear. Then suddenly a year later, Nick Hahn was running the show. Nick Hahn brought me in to be a demonstrator in 2005. So, 17 years ago. But fast forward 2021, when my mom died, Nick Hahn called me and said to me, rather honestly and innocently, I don't even know what to say to you, but I felt the need to call you because I feel bad for you that your mom died, and I wanted to see how you were.
He's a good man.
He is a saint in my book. So I support promo only. I support Nick Hahn. If Nick Hahn goes tomorrow to work for Cocaine of America, I will. Doesn't matter.
Lines. Yeah.
Nick Hahn is one of the greatest people in my lifetime. I've had the honor and pleasure, and I hope he sees this, of meeting, knowing, and honestly, I love Nick. I genuinely do.
He's a joy, and it's so good to have him.
Nick is someone I call a friend.
Oh, he is a friend.
And I call Christian. I call Brian Red. I call Nick Hahn. I call Bill Diorio. There aren't many. Jim Restaghini. There's 7 or 8 people that I would call a friend. If I called Nick Hahn right now and said, holy shit, there's a problem, I need help, can you send me 10 grand? I guarantee Nick's on a short list of people that would probably do it.
Yeah.
I take that back. Nick would do it. He's that guy.
So anyway,
Nick is the salt of the goddamn earth.
I'm in Chicagoland, and my photographer.
Were you on Tui Ave?
No, it wasn't that far down.
Oh, okay.
I'm with my photographer who's doing portraits with me that day, whose birthday happens to be the day before mine, who also happens to be this Asian woman who has this affinity for hamburgers. So we decided for our birthday, we're going to go to Red Robin and cash in on the free hamburger on your birthday deal.
There you go.
So we're at Red Robin having our free birthday hamburgers. And I get a text from Nick Hahn. He says, call me as soon as you can. I'm like,
drop everything.
I'm having a burger, but you know what? I'm going to go outside and I'm going to call Nick.
Yeah.
So I go outside and I call Nick. And he says, look, I thought of you. And I thought of Brian Dowdle. because I got something cooking, and I want you to be involved. Okay, what's going on? I said, well, we here at Promo Only are going to be having a Zoom meeting with Duran Duran, and we'd like you to attend.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you there?
I was there.
Oh, God, you were?
Yeah, I was there. And so was Brian Dowdle. In fact,
awesome.
I'd like to share a picture that I did a screenshot of and saved of this.
I didn't know you were there.
I was so there, dude.
Oh, that is so awesome.
If you here, I'll blow the picture up if I can move this thing here. There we are. You can see I'm right here. There is Simon LeBon right next to me.
I see Simon LeBon.
Here is John Taylor, right here.
There's John Taylor. Yep.
And here is Mr. Brian Dowdle.
Oh, Brian must have been thrilled with that.
I called Brian
That's awesome.
that night. Oh, and speaking of, here's Nick Hahn sporting a porn stash right here.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Wow.
He's got the porn stash going on.
Yeah, so anyway, guys from Duran Duran, when you guys did Rio, what the hell was up with that sailboat, huh?
That's almost
I would have gotten a motorboat.
Yeah. That's almost exactly the question he asked. It's pretty close to it.
Like,
so,
when you guys did Planet Earth, were you like thinking about Mars or about Earth? Tell me the truth. And
his
Simon,
question was good.
Girl.
His question was good. He got on and he said, now, you guys are pretty famous. Now, who's the person out there who's famous and a fan of yours that just blows your mind? Who is that person?
Oh, that's a great question.
Nick Hahn or Simon LeBon, without even like thinking, says Lady Di.
Oh,
without even thinking, and John just goes like,
well, that's a well-known fact too.
Yeah, right.
They met her a bunch of times.
Yeah, so she was a pretty big fan. She was a
huge fan. That's a great question. Well, I saw them in 1985 on, I believe it was 7 in the Ragged Tiger tour.
Ooh.
And let me tell you, I was one of the 10 guys out of 20,000. I brought my 2 younger sisters. And to this day, I will go to my grave. I was wearing white Capezio dance shoes, which were all the rage in the 80s. Those of you that don't know, look them up. White Capezio jazz dance shoes.
I remember them, yes.
I had on red pants.
Nice.
I had a closed logo across the fly. And on my sweatshirt was a gray cut collar to a V-neck, sleeves cut, and had a Japanese rising sun.
You were channeling your inner John Taylor for that.
I was so fucking tan, like all day I was, because I'm like, John Taylor's cool. He looks cool. He's got the mullet. He's got the blonde thing up here. Oh, all day long.
So
I you know what? I defy you. Even if you don't like Duran Duran, I'll tell you what. Those of you, Howie, where are we on the numbers? We're at 7.6 million people that are going to see this video tonight.
Exactly.
Those of you watching, I want you to do me a favor. Go out and click on Duran Duran, Save a Prayer. And then walk away afterwards and tell me if your life wasn't better for hearing that.
Mm-hmm. I have to say this.
And Chauffeur.
I have to say this. So, first of all, thinking Nick goes without.
Oh, Nick is the soft of the earth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was, I had the opportunity to ask any question I wanted to.
What did you ask?
I didn't ask any questions. I
God almighty, Brian.
The whole time.
What
you know why?
Do you know
why?
Thinking?
Do you know why? Because
no.
I wanted to be a gracious guest and keep my mouth shut. Mm-hmm. That's why. I was there to listen.
Understand that, but there's a point where you could at least have thrown in, hey guys, with Chauffeur, did you ever notice how well that mixes with?
I had multiple questions. Like real questions I've been asking for 40 years in my head. And I'd like the answers to them. Do you know why I didn't ask the questions? Not only because I wanted to be a gracious host, but also John Taylor and I do have a mutual friend. And I've asked our mutual friend these questions before, and he says, you need to ask him next time you're in town, let's work something out. So I'm kind of holding out for that, where I got more time, and I'm not taking anybody else's time.
All right.
I find this really interesting that you guys truly have switched roles now, like you planned in the beginning. You're running into Jay's time, and it's just perfect.
Well,
And you know what? This was
the
only
name of the game.
This was
Name of the
only
game.
something that I felt was worth talking about.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And by
enough.
the way, when you meet up with John Taylor, let me ask you this:
Who's our mutual friend?
Would you mention? No. More importantly, would you mention anything with Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols?
No,
Why?
those aren't my questions.
But do you know the correlation?
I think I do. No, wait, I do not. I do not.
Steve Jones was in a band, and John Taylor played bass in that band.
Was it Power Station?
No, it was another band. It was
played bass in that band.
I want to say it was called like either the Outlaws or the Outsiders or something like that.
Know.
But yeah, Steve Jones and John Taylor were in a band together in the 80s.
I know nothing about that. I do know that the questions I had were geeky enough and maybe sensitive enough.
Were they Robert Taylor-esque? Were Robert Palmer-esque questions?
No. I had production questions about some of the early stuff because I'm convinced that there are certain tracks that in production were pitched up for recording.
Oh, I guarantee they were.
Yeah, but a lot.
Yeah. No, I think everyone did that back then.
No, but it was
Twins and them. And
well, I don't know. I don't hear it there. I hear it with Duran because if I take a track like, is there something
please tell me now. Yeah.
Is there something I should know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I take that track and I pitch it down like literally 3.5%, it starts to make more sense sonically.
Yeah, we've had this talk.
And
give me the way, give me your favorite track. You only get one track from Duran. What is it?
My God.
Only one.
I have to, if I can only pick one, I have to pick Hungry Like the Wolf. And this is why.
Yeah.
It was the first one I heard. I remember this. And I've probably told this story before, so I'll make it brief. For some reason, and I think it's because my brother went to the military, his friends were kind of being my brother's surrogate. And my brother's 9 years older than I am. And back when I was a kid, which Jay makes fun of, I was very much running with the big boys when I was like a very young child.
Yeah.
So I'm probably
Brian's driving at like 8. So.
I'm probably 11 years old. And his friend who is in town from Corpus Christi, Texas, which might as well been Paris or New York compared to the little town I lived in, Oklahoma. He's in town and he calls me. He says, let's go for a ride. I got a new car. So he picks me up and I think it was like a brand new silver, like a Regal or something like that. And it had one of those like high end, like Nakamichi stereos in it.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, you got to hear this. He pops in a cassette and the song playing is Hungry Like the Wolf.
I remember the story.
He's like, wow, this is amazing. He's like, yeah, this just dropped in Corpus Christi. You want to check the whole album out? Sure. So we go back to his house. And the guy had his own house and he's like 19 and he had his own house. But that's how they rolled in Oklahoma. He had a record player that hung on the wall and he put the record on and he played it and we listened to it. Like, that is amazing. Yeah. And then I would go to the record store. I'd ride my bike to the record store every week and say, do you have Hungry Like the Wolf? And they're like, we don't sell children's albums here. I'm like, no. This is a legit track. Like, we don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
It took probably a month and a half. And then, of course, I got the single for Hungry Like the Wolf. Now, what was even cooler about it was it had a flip side of Hungry Like the Wolf. It's like, okay, well, what's going on here? The times are different. It was the night version. And what they used to do back then, and they talked about this on the Zoom meeting, and I thought it was so cool they talked about this because it was a question that I thought would be interesting to ask just for the room's sake, not for my own knowledge. But they didn't used to remix stuff. What they used to do is re-record stuff. Mm-hmm. So the night version of Hungry Like the Wolf is a completely different session than the single version of Hungry Like the Wolf. They just played the song and played it longer the second time.
Yeah.
And Simon says, which I never knew, he said the reason we did it was because we thought that we were good enough to do our own stuff. We didn't need some producer doing it.
Cool. Yeah.
And what did we know? It was kind of stupid. We probably should have had him do it. He said, but really, to be honest, when it comes to remixes, you might get a good remix. You might get a bad remix. You throw it out there to the people who do this kind of stuff. It could be good. It could be bad. We don't know. But when we did our own, we knew they were the way we wanted them. So we did the night versions.
Well, I mean, that was a different time then, too. I had a Seal single that had Prayer for the Dying and Dreaming in Metaphors. And on the B side of the single was an acoustic version of both tracks. So if you let the tape play through, it went to the acoustic version of both songs. And the Dream in Metaphors was just piano. And it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. But I've had this talk with you and other people about, well, you know, I bought the soundtrack because it's the only way I could get this song or that song, because they didn't release everything up front. You know, it wasn't always, oh, there's 25 remixes of this. There's all these dub version and extended and whatever. You know,
what's your most underrated Duran Duran track? Since we're talking about this,
I think Chauffeur or Planet Earth are the two most underrated.
The one that I think got no attention and no one ever talked about, and it's a shame. It's a beautiful song. And if you've never heard it, look it up, give it a listen. It's called Lonely in Your Nightmare. It's an early track.
I know that.
But it's a beautiful song.
Yeah,
it's a really good song.
Yeah, I think their entire first album is underrated. I think their entire first album, in my opinion, was as good as Rio, was as good as Seven and the Ragged, was as good as Reflex, was as good as everything they ever did. And what kills me about them is they come back with Ordinary World. They come back with, what is it, Reach into the Sunrise?
Reach out
for the sunrise.
Yeah,
it's a great song. And I've heard Hex Hector remixes and other people do it. And I'm
like, you realize that song's like 20 years old now?
That's the weird part.
Yeah.
But look at, you know what? And it reminds me, because when I found Ordinary World, I also found Beautiful by Adam and the Ants.
Yep.
And it was another one of those like, holy, where the fuck did this come from?
Very left field.
Completely left field.
Yes.
Like, this makes no sense.
Right.
But it was still an amazing piece.
Yeah.
I'll say it now. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I will never get to hear all the great music that's available to me in my lifetime.
It's okay. Enjoy what you do here.
I love what I hear. I love, and you know what the beauty of life is, honestly, Brian? Every day I find a new song. Every day I find, I've never heard this, you know, Pat Travers song, this Robin Trower song, this Duran Duran song, whatever it is. I find something new. I live on Shazam because I can't let go of wanting to have music.
I don't understand generations of people. And I think for the most part, the generation that maybe Howie's in, but doesn't represent very well because he's totally not like them, the baby boomers, where they're just kind of stuck. Oh, our music. And they're talking about the music of the 60s and 70s and maybe the first part of the 80s. And they disregard everything else. Yeah. I'm Gen X. I have to have constant input of music. I have to.
Yeah. What I call that is tribalism. And you're right. You know, my generation, they're very tribal. It's like, I mean, even during that era, they would pick either rock and roll or country rock.
Yes.
Or Grateful Dead, and it's like, oh, rock sucks, the Grateful Dead's the best, you know, and they would actually, it was very, very tribal, and to this day, they're still that way. I can't do that. I'm like Jay. I went down the rabbit hole of Carolina beach music this week. man, and this is, oh shit, this was supposed to be a surprise for Lori's birthday. She loves the beach, so I wanted to make her a beach mixtape, so to speak.
Well, when's her birthday?
The 28th. And
well, this show might not get posted until next year.
Hopefully she won't see it. But anyway, I went down this rabbit hole, this wonderful beach music I've never heard, with horns and orchestras and great harmonies. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm with Jay. I got to hear something.
I get. Yeah. I will never forget. And what's sad now is because of digital, and because of the iPhone or the smartphone and iTunes and Amazon and everything else. I remember getting a cassette tape of Level 42. I think it's called World Machine.
That sounds right.
And I got it because I wanted Something About You. But what I
heard all this other badass stuff.
Exactly.
Yes.
What I didn't understand or know was that I would sit on a back porch in a 3-floor Saugus, Massachusetts condo at 2 a.m. with a girl named, I think, Cheryl. Could have been Karen. Well, forget the girl.
Carol.
She was there. And I remember smoking a cigarette, listening to Lessons in Love and other tracks. And
was Running in the Family on that one?
No.
That's a good song.
I don't believe so.
It's
a great song. But just walking away into the house and thinking the best part of this night was not coming home with this girl. It was getting to hear these songs. And that's never changed. That's literally, nothing has ever outdone music in my life. That moment where I hear something new. Somebody the other day said something about birthdays, and I said, well, I remember when I turned 15, my mom and I took a bus into Harvard Square in Cambridge, the town next to where I grew up. We had lunch, and we went to a French restaurant, and I tried escargot, and it was really good. And then for my main course, I had a mushroom and spinach souffle omelet. But the best part of the day was going out, and I bought Kiss Destroyer and Dire Straits. The
self-titled album, probably.
Yeah, it was self-titled.
Yeah. Sultans of Swing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just going home and putting them on.
Yeah.
And being that time we had when we were growing up, where we had, I can't think how to describe it, Brian. It was that time where we were alone with music, and it was spinning, and we just read the liner notes, and we fell in love with something that we hadn't felt or heard before.
It's almost transcending. It is like,
that's a great word for it.
Yeah, that is a great word for it, Howie. It's the greatest drug that you'll never get hurt by. You'll never be addicted to in a bad way.
You'd be not in a bad way.
But you can close your. I mean, I sat in my room
from it.
Well, I sat in my room one night.
Don't get rid of goddamn records. Yeah.
I mean, I read an article in a magazine that said, if you close your eyes when you listen to music, it's deeper and it means more. And I was like, oh, wow, no way. So I remember going up to my room that night and sitting on the edge of the bed and putting on the headphones, and I dropped the needle on Kansas Left Overture. Yeah. And the first track being Carry On the Wayward Son. And I closed my eyes in the dark and listened to it. And I was literally an adult. I owned a house. I had a wife. I had kids. I had a car. I wasn't like 14 anymore. There's nothing in life as an adult now that does that to you.
Well, I will say
that now that you say that, Brian, I know you can probably guess this. Jay, I think you might too. Guess what song I listened to on the red-eye flight back from Vegas February 2020 on the plane.
Ooh.
First
That's
song.
a tough one.
Not Lola's theme.
Think about
That's
big ears, big ears.
But Will Smith getting jiggy with it? I don't know.
No. It was
Forget Me Not.
Dead Mouse.
I remember.
That's Jay's song.
For reals?
Honest
that's
to God.
my track, dude. Every show, that's my track.
No, but it was like, okay, I'm going to be safe. I'm going home, and my eyes were closed, and that's the first song that I listened to. And
it's a great song.
It's a great, amazing track.
I was not on an airplane for that song.
The one thing I will say is, we've talked about, and I specifically mentioned boomer music and how I'm not saying this isn't some of the best music ever made, because it is. Some of the stuff from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s is in my humble opinion, some of the best music ever written, especially when it comes to, pop music.
Certainly heavily sampled.
Very, but no, well crafted, wonderful music. I'm not suggesting that Dead Mouse I Remember is better than the Sgt. Pepper album or the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack or anything Duran Duran did or Kiss or Van Halen or anything else. I'm just saying it's different and I need the input. It doesn't have to be better. It just has to be fresh. That's all I'm saying. And it's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
I just think you need to keep perspective. You need to have various times in your life. You need to have that moment where Devo was that song. Just a Girl by Devo.
Oh, my Girl You Want. Yes.
Oh, Girl You Want. Girl You Want.
Oh, that's why I'm here.
And by the way,
last night's show, Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. But by the way, if you didn't mention it last night, the Soundgarden cover of that, if you didn't hear it, is amazing. But you need to have all those old tracks. I still go back to Rachel Sweet. Who does Lisa love? And I say to people, and they look at me like, what do you mean? And I go to YouTube, and I'm like, wow, it said 18,000 views. And I'm like, what? Wait, that's impossible. This is one of the greatest songs ever. And then I have to come to grips with the songs of my day. When we talk about In Excess with Scrappa, it's like, they've got all their huge hits, but they will always be, the one thing to me, because that was the song that I heard in my headphones walking home from the radio station when it first came out, when it was just that thing. And it's like, oh man, I love this. And the Fix and, all the underling bands that didn't ever go anywhere, but they gave us music that you look back on and just go, oh my God. It still feels amazing. I mean, Johnny Thunders, what is it? Is it a dream a memory I can't put my arms around? Like, if you listen to musically what it is, it's kind of weird and kind of almost, remedial, but it's an amazing song.
When I go to my mother's house, especially when Blanca's with me, if Blanca says we have to leave at 6, I have to tell my mom we're leaving at 4:30 because my mom will keep me there for an hour and a half to look at pictures or, oh, by the way, I wanted you to help me out with this. So we've got a few minutes left. I want to go ahead and say we're wrapping it now because I'm sure Jay will keep us for another minute or two.
Yeah. I can take a sip while you guys close.
The long goodbye. I don't know. What do you think of the show tonight? Let us know in the comments section.
Long and winding road. Now
we tried something different tonight. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we tried something different tonight. And if you like it, let us know. If you didn't notice, then let us know you have no idea what I'm talking about. Sounds like every rambling, stupid show we've ever done before. But let us know.
And thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to watch us. We really do appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting Disc Jockey News. Thank you, superstar producer, engineer Howie Darkstar, wingman, everything else. Both of y'all. Jay, same thing. Thanks for watching.
Love you guys.
We'll see you next week.